What it do, boys? You already know who it is. Your boy Sally said. We're back for another day of wisdom and growth with the Stay Woke podcast. Today is going to be a topic based a little more towards relationships, specifically with your significant other. I haven't watched my podcast before. I'm going to read off 5 questions, get in depth on each question with lessons I've learned, my personal opinions and perspectives that I've grown to learn over the time, and just provide as much knowledge and value to the people watching. I mean, this is a really opinionated question, but just to give it like a broad idea, I believe first and foremost, communication is always the biggest issue in majority of people's relationships. One, because going back on an idea that I've spoken about in a podcast in the past is it's one thing to know, but when you're feeling your emotions, it's harder to control what you know, right? So communication is really hard to get to the point where you guys can understand each other without allowing so much emotion just to spew out of your voice, and all this anger and all this stuff that can be controlled when two people just realize that one, like, we do understand each other, we just aren't the same people. Another one also is comprehension, because you can communicate and you can say a lot of things, but if the person doesn't understand what you're saying or doesn't know how to implement that into the relationship to make it better for both parties and not just one, because it's never just about yourself, it's about both. But also that comprehension aspect is one of the biggest things, because sometimes when you're saying something to somebody, it's really hard for them to grasp the idea that you're trying to explain to them, especially when it's completely out of their programming and what they've been growing up around. The best way to deal with those two things is just to slow the fuck down. You can just shut up, like both of us, like probably, and really just take the time to like sit there and lay everything that we're speaking about on the table so that we can come to a conclusion that makes sense. And it's, sometimes that conclusion may be favored to one side of the relationship. Maybe you're the boyfriend or the girlfriend was saying this, and maybe they're right. Sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong. But you got to learn that it isn't always going to be level ground no matter what you want it to be. It's just about coming to level ground with one another about the decision that you made, and having the understanding of each other that it's not worth what it's going to turn into. And majority of just this is what destroys like 80% of relationships in the world. So it's just, if this was like perfected more, and if it was like programmed into people a little more, I feel like we would have more long-lasting relationships. The marriage rate would be up. Love would be easier to find. People wouldn't be so cold-hearted. But there's just so much lack of communication and even understanding of self that people can't get to that point. And with all of that comes the lack of trust. And trust is always going to be a thing that people don't have, regardless if whether it was intentionally caused by you, or maybe that trust came from past traumas that they had. Like, trust is never gonna just be something that's developed immediately, and you have to have the understanding and the comprehension of one another to know that you come from different backgrounds, and you have to kind of sit there and listen to where they came from to understand why they're how they are. It doesn't mean that how they are or you are is okay, but it's just giving the understanding that you understand where they're coming from, which would also solve a lot of the trust issues, the communication issues, and all that stuff. I do believe that men and women are different by themselves, and also obviously in a relationship. Men are logically driven. Women are always emotionally driven, which is not a bad thing, because the mixture of the both is what creates a strong family, a strong foundation, just a strong relationship that you're looking for. You guys have to understand that, men and women play their part. And, and definitely with men, like, men have that logical understanding of stuff. So it's harder for us to sit there and, get the understanding of all the emotion, because we just want no drama, no conflict, no nothing. we'd rather just resolve the issue. And majority of, I mean, there's some dudes that are toxic and like to do all the extra stuff, but that's really not going to ever get you anywhere in a relationship. So there's no reason to like even entertain that. And then for women, you know, they're emotional creatures. This is something that it took me a really, really, really long time to understand. You know, and for the men, like if you're watching this, if you want to have a good woman, I mean, bro, you're going to have to learn to understand emotion, because no matter what woman you meet, like even if she's a tomboy, like she's still like, you know, a woman. You know, at the end of the day, like women have emotions. You have to speak to them a certain type of way. Sometimes you have to reframe how you're doing something and approach it a different way, say things a different way. I mean, you don't have to, but if you want to be in a relationship and have a long-lasting relationship, it's going to take that. It's going to take compromise. It's going to take doing things that you don't understand yourself, but it's not a matter of you understanding yourself. It's about you understanding your partner so that you guys can come to that. It's just no matter what it is, bro. Like no matter what it is, that's what you got to do. Women are emotional. Women are you know, I'm not detrimental, but they're important in the process of a man becoming a man, because you got to learn to do that. And it's especially when you end up having a daughter one day or something like that, you got to learn to have that soft heart for you know, a feminine energy in your life. And it starts with your mother, then it goes to your woman, and then to your daughter, and from so on and so forth to your family. But you got to understand what it's like, bro, to really love a woman how she desires to be loved, even when, you know, it's so hard to do so, you know. And even though there's a difference between men and women, it doesn't matter. Women, no matter what woman you meet, they just want a man that's going to love them, treat them right, respect them, and give them, you know, something to be proud of, and give them security and everything like that. You can go talk to a million women, they'll spew a bunch of different things that all revolves back to that same topic right there. And men, you know, we want security and stuff like that, but really at the end of the day, we want understanding. You know, we want security as well, but in a different way. We men are very, you know, we come from like a dark environment. So like being a man, it's a little different than being a woman. You guys have a very soft environment. You know, majority of the time, it's not easier. It's not, just different. And that's the best word to do for it. Men go through a lot of stuff that women don't understand, and women go through a lot of stuff men don't understand. There's a difference, but it doesn't mean that there can't be a beautiful relationship. Or for anybody that wants to have a relationship, man or man, woman or woman, regardless, like it just comes down to understanding the differences between one another and learning how to work with that person or not, because there's no reason to waste time. Yeah, the facade. I know facade. I believe everybody nowadays, and majorly because of social media, you know, once again, everybody wants to have a happy relationship. Everything we see on TV, you know, maybe our parents had a beautiful relationship that you look up to. Times are very different from then, but the problem with people now is they're so infatuated with making their relationship look so beautiful that I feel like it kind of like, it divides their mind from the actual work it takes to have the relationship that they want, and not only the relationship you want, but the longevity of the relationship that you want. Because it's easy to be in love in the beginning because you guys aren't showing your flaws, you guys don't even know who each other are, but once you progress onto a relationship and you start living with that person and sharing space and mind and thought, you get new perspectives on people and new understandings. It's not just as easy as making it look good. You know, like it really, and this is why I preach to everybody that those first couple of days that you're getting to know somebody, like before you guys just like act like you're together, those days should be those hell week. Be you informing the person on who you are, and you know, this takes time. It's not like everybody can get to this point, but the vulnerability it takes to sit there and stare at someone you don't even know and be like, homie, like I'm hurt, and this is what I need, and if it's not going to be like this, then I don't need this. And it's the same thing, you know, vice versa for both sides of the party. But that right there would change the directory of so many relationships. There'd be so many relationships that probably wouldn't even happen. If the relationships did happen, there would be long-lasting, beautiful relationships that people could grow off of, because you know exactly the type of person that you're with. You're not just guessing. It's not just a person. Like, you know, we're all victims to the same thing, and we're also like just as wrong in every place because we all want to play our beautifulest parts in the beginning. But the important part is not showing how beautiful you are, it's showing who you really are. And if everybody did that, relationships would be more beautiful. We'd probably have relationships like people did back in the day. But unfortunately, like because of the shallowness of majority of people and the one-track mind that men have nowadays, like it's not never, but it's very rare to find a man that, and a woman even, that is trying to do that type of work and understand you in that type of way. It's not easy work, bro, but that is a relationship worth having. That is something that you would be proud of. That's something that your children are gonna look up and be able to have positive reflect or influences on who they want to be like and what the relationships they want to be like in the future. And you know, it just needs to be less about selling the dream, and there should be more people sitting there and going through shit. Want to get a relationship? Put the work into have it. Otherwise, you just don't have one. You know, because like a lot of us just need the work by ourselves. You know. First and foremost, I mean, no matter what, I mean, it always just originated from my mom and my lack of having a family when I was younger. But I've always wanted a family. I want someone that loves me, cares for me genuinely, and I can trust in. I can tell things to. I know that they're not going to just be in somebody else's ear or their mouth or anything like that. You know, having someone there for you that truly listens, you know, like someone you could be vulnerable with. And a lot of men, they don't have that person to be vulnerable with, so they put up this, you know, and women as well, but majority of men put up this face, right? And then they get a good woman that they start being vulnerable with, and that's why they start getting so connected to that person, and then you guys break up and there's issues, or maybe you guys stay together, whatever it is. But the issue is always that, you know, when you get somebody that allows you to open up, it gives you a new level of connection with that person. And deep down in every single one of us, we all want somebody that just will listen, bro. And not only listen, but understand. And then understand and comfort, because we all need it. You know, especially like me, coming from a family like I came from. So I'm sure a majority of the people watching this video right now came from troubled households and, you know, maybe didn't have a father or a mother or anything, you know. So we all want something from our significant other. And, you know, no matter what anybody says, like it's one thing to be single, and I believe that everybody needs to be single for a certain part of their life and learn things and understand what it's like to be alone. But the qualities of being with somebody and having a life with somebody is just so much higher than being alone. And I believe like being alone should only be like a furlough period in your life. You should always, like, and this is opinionated, I respect everybody and their decision, but I believe that everybody should look forward to having a family and someone to be there for you. And no matter what, like if you think no one understands you, I don't care what you say, there's someone out there that does. And the only part is just never losing that will to find love, because love is never going to be destroyed. Love revives everybody. Love is what brings life to the world. Love is what gives men purpose. Love is what gives women purpose. You give birth to a baby, you're in love with your baby. That just gave you purpose right there. The whole point is like creating a family, having people there for you that listen, being able to spend quality time and not just hanging out with people to hang out with people, but hanging out with people and being able to sit in a silent room and enjoy every second of being with that person, instead of, you know, feeling like you don't want to be there or stuff like that. Like quality time is an important thing too. You know, time is something that we don't have a lot of, especially nowadays. You know, and going further back on the thing, like having the support, you know, just having people there, bro. You know, I don't care what anybody says. Like when you have someone good there, not someone bad, someone good there that understands you, respects you, you can trust, and you guys have a genuine connection, that is a beautiful feeling. Whether, and you know, that goes with everything. Like whether it's with your kid, your dad, your mom, your best friends, your fucking uncle, whatever it is, like it's just having that strong connection with somebody is something that we all desire to have. And I think that everybody just needs to sit down with themselves and identify their trauma. Because you identify your trauma, then you can understand why you're hurt. And then after you figure out why you're hurt, you can identify how to fix why you're hurt. And once you fix why you're hurt, it'll open your heart up more. You won't be as closed off to people. And that might open you up to a position of meeting somebody, or maybe you're already with somebody and you guys get to have that relationship that you've been waiting for. But it just takes that shadow work. And that's why I'm saying, like, just people need to take more time And first off, just stop hating on love, because there's so many people saying that everybody out here is like everybody. Nobody is like everybody. And creating that stereotype is deterring younger children and people, grown people, from wanting to be in love, which is a tragedy for a lot of people. And I feel like people just need to be more positive in the fact and holding themselves accountable that it's more than just this person. Maybe it's you. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's someone else. The whole point is you have to identify who it is, understand that if it's your fault, it's your fault, and fix yourself. Like, I know you're broken. We all come from broken families, but we have the pieces and the tools to fix yourself. So don't live in a life of trauma because you feel that that's what you deserve, or that's what just your life is created for you. Because if you choose to live a life with no chains, then you're just a victim to your life every second of every day. Life is beautiful right now. We'll never have this level of life again, no matter what it is, whether it's the growth or the traumas that come with it. We'll never have this life back. So once again, I heard something the other day, instead of saying you only live once, you only die once. And you should want to live every day like every day is the last day. And also have the awareness that people you love care about you a lot. And they want you here too. And even like, if you're like, oh, nobody wants me, like, if there's people that love you, bro, like, you have a reason to be here. If you have a kid, you got a reason to be here. You have a mom that's here, you have a reason to be here. And you can't wrong like anybody for how you were raised, because just majority of the people that have caused you pain are in pain themselves, and they've been caused pain from somebody else that's in pain themselves. Isn't that a nasty fucking journey, right? Relationships are not easy. They're not for the faint of heart. They're not for the people that aren't full. They're not for the people that are not open to learning, growing, changing, letting go of habits. If you don't want none of that, then there's no reason for you to put yourself in a situation with somebody and cause them pain, right? We need more love, and I know that's as cliche as it sounds. Love is what everybody needs. Love is what the world needs. Love is what you need. Love is what I need. Love is what my kids need. Love is what your kids need, or your mom needs. So go tell your mom you love them. Go tell your kids you love them. Go tell your brother, your sister, everybody you love them, because today could be the last day. Tell who you love them. Understand that if you want a relationship, it's going to take work on your end, and it's going to take work on their end. Identify where you need to do and move accordingly. That's going to be it for today's podcast. I'm at this every day, y'all. It's probably not going to be every day, because it's going to be like every other day, because I record the videos every day. But yeah, no, I'm on this, guys, and I hope this one gave you a lot of value, whether you're a man or a woman. This is all worthy information for anybody that just wants to find love in their family, in their relationship, with their friends. It's just going to take work on your end, and it's going to take everything that I outlined through this. But if I could have it, you could have it. If they could have it, we could have it, right? Thank you so much for watching Stay Woke Podcast with Selly Cell, and I will catch you on the next episode.